Okay, today is wood day, and the thing that's bothered me all along with this wood is that the resin is so thick that when you put it on, I'm trying to see if I can show you an example here. It's stuck to the trash can. If you can look down this board, I'm gonna move it, watch, see how it, the waves. So that's, from a body man's perspective, that's just a no-no. There was no way. I did everything. I heated it with a torch to make it flow out and level. We drug it with and the best, this is the best it was out of the 4 coats that we did. We tried rolling, we tried brushing. Brushing's a big no-no. This one I poured it on and spread it with a Bondo spreader. But you still go back over it with a roller, a foam roller. And I do it very consistently. I start at one end and roll it to the other, just because if you stop, that's where you sink the roller and it makes a dent. But even with that being as good as it could be, it's still got those waves. It might not bother a lot of people because it's wood, but it bothers me because I'm a body man. So this morning we're going to get busy sanding. We're going to use a DA. We've ordered the proper paper for it, and I'm pretty good with a DA. I can do body work with a DA, but I think because it's such a long, 8-foot long panel, that's like an 8-foot quarter panel, I'm gonna use this old school Hutchison air sander with 180 grit, and you can see right here, come look over on this board. I think actually Debbie hit this with a 180 on a long board, but you can see the low spots, the shiny spots or the dark spots are low spots, and the sanded spots are high spots. There's a lot of resin on here, so I'm going to use this and try to block it down. Debbie's going to work on the backside with the DA because the resin from the front side would run around the backside and make drips. And she's going to fix that and out of the bolt holes. She's going to touch the backside. I don't care if the backside's shiny. It's completely hidden. Nobody will ever see that. It's just on there to seal it. So she's going to work on that, and I'll work on the top, and then we'll come back and wet sand it down to probably 1500, I'm hoping is enough, and we'll polish it on top of the 1500. I'll try it. Some people take it down to 3000, which I do car paint, but I don't think is necessary for this wood. So that's where we're at. We're going to try to get 9 boards done today so I can put this bed together tomorrow and get it on the truck. The interior is 95% finished. So then I got a bumper, tail lights, and a few things to do, but we're almost ready for PRI. Thought I'd give you you know what, I'm not going to use that paper. That one's kind of, the Velcro on it at least is wore out. So I thought I'd give you a rundown of kind of what we figured out on polishing this wood. I really thought it would be cake. It's resin. Resin should polish really easy, I would think. I mean, I've not got a lot of experience polishing resin, but it's not, it doesn't polish easy. Car paint polishes a lot better. So what we did, because this stuff was so thick, I think I've talked about this, how you just, and I don't have a board to show you now, but even though it was shiny and clear and thick, it still had a lot of, trash in it, stuff from the air, stuff from the roller, stuff from the brushes, no way you'd ever leave it like that. And it had the dips. I mean, if you have a dip from a roller or whatever method you're putting it on with, it stays. This self-leveling thing that they talk about, basically what that means is the resins are thinner, because any liquid will self-level. But when it's thick, like friggin' syrup, K-Rose syrup, it doesn't move. When you pour it out and spread it, if it's got a dent in it, it pretty much stays there. We used a torch, and this resin's a lot different than the resin that we used thousands of gallons of when we were building fiberglass cars. If I put a torch to our stuff, it would have been a massive fire, and it's happened a couple times from just heat guns. This stuff, you can sit there and burn it. Just take a torch and you can watch it. It thins it out because of the heat, and it will flow a little bit, but it doesn't get rid of everything. So what we did was used 180. You've got video of that. I used different methods. I used the DA, the regular DA, with 180 grit on it, and I used a board yesterday, an 18-inch long board with 180. Wore me out. I mean, we've sanded straight, Debbie and I, for over 10 hours yesterday. I think I had a 16-hour day, but big part of that was sanding boards. I was tired last night. So what we have is 9 boards that are relatively flat now because we body worked them. The resin's so thick that it was able to body work those waves and bumps and holes, and for the most part out. There's a hole that's in there that, you know, I'm not worried about little things. That's some kind of all through these boards, some of the cracks, the resin will sink. I could get that out, but I'd rather have that little dent than I had thinner resin right there. So we boarded them, blocked them flat with 180. I kind of had it in my mind, oh, that's not too bad. We'll hit it with something else real quick and buff it, and it'll make that resin flow, because the resin, it's really weird stuff, this epoxy resin. It stays soft forever. You come back the next day and it's locked up, but heat won't make it lock up. I put it out in the sun thinking that, like any other typical resin or paint, that the sun would cook it and make it lock up. It makes it soft. It literally went the opposite direction. I could touch it and might leave a fingerprint. So you just have to wait. You have to be patient with it. It's got its own little microchips in there, and when it's ready to lock up, it locks up. But so this stuff's been sitting over a week, and it's probably locked up about as much as it's going to, and it doesn't sand. You can't sand. Even I don't remember what I started with yesterday. I think I put 800 grit on the finishing DA, and buffed it, sanded it with 800 grit, and then went to, I think, 1500, thinking that would be enough. And looked at it and was like, man, this stuff's not buffing. This is like polishing concrete. So we started thinking of all different stuff. Debbie went to I came up with the idea. I normally use for the last, I don't even know how long, 15 years probably, I've used foam pads for maybe even longer than that. We used to use wool pads. Well, wool pads are very aggressive, and you can really do damage if you get the edge of that wool pad, and which buffing a high-end paint job, you don't want to burn through like that. But I used to have a stack around here of used wool pads. I remember, I don't know, sometime a year or so ago, just chunking them, and I saved 2 or 3. Well, I went and got one of the ones that pad's probably 20 years old, and I thought that'll cut this stuff down. Well, it does. It helps a lot, but it's mostly about the sanding. Debbie went to the parts store, and I even wanted her to go get, we use a buffing compound. It's more of a chemical cut. At least that's what they used to say, because if you feel it, there's no grit in it at all. It does not. It feels as smooth as butter. The stuff we used to use back in the old days, that feels like sandpaper. It's very gritty. This is the old, and it stinks. Really strong smell. So she went and got, they actually still have it, and I thought, well, that with the wool pad will really help cut some of those sand scratches down, and it does. It helps. And then I'm still, after, I don't know, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're on the 7th board right now. just figuring it out that you can buff it with that stuff after you get your sanding done. And I keep thinking, I'm missing sanding. I need different, I've got to stay on it longer with my finer grit sandpapers. Well, that's not true. I finally kind of put it together that the wool pad, what'll happen is the stuff will cake up on it, and it's hard for you to see on this side. But this side, this is old, that compound's been on there for decades, but it cakes up and gets hard, and it's like sandpaper. It's like it scratches it. It's like sanding it, like a grinder disc. Well, I didn't wash this thing. I've just been using it. So I think some of that dried compound is actually scratching the resin. So it doesn't matter how much I sand and how fine I get with this, I'm still having to buff out scratches from my buffer pad with the foam pad. So we finally put this all together and got a plan, and it's working, and we're down to, and 2 more boards is all we have left, and they're coming out fantastic. But I wanted to show you the steps. So this is 180, take a look right here, and you can just tell that that's very rough. Let me get some water, if I could find my water. Somebody put my water on the frame table. We got ghosts and stuff around here. So see, when you do that, it becomes shiny, but it still doesn't look as knockout is what it's getting ready to look. And I don't know if you can hear that. That's literally, rough sand scratches that's causing that. So 180 is way too rough. We're doing body work with 180. And we did buy a little bit of sandpaper, but I didn't. Some of the stuff that I watched online, they want you to go, man, they get crazy. They'll maybe start with 180, and then they'll go to 220, and then they'll go to 320, and then they'll go to whatever, 400, 600, 800. And they were saying, don't skip one step. You can't skip one grit of sandpaper. It's like, you gotta have 50 sandpapers to do what they're saying. And they take it all the way down to 5,000 grit. I don't have time or patience for that. I'm not gonna spend the money on that sandpaper. The stuff she bought yesterday, $2.50 a sheet. You buy a box of that, you're in at $75 or something. I'm not buying a bunch of sandpaper that I don't need. So what we're doing is, this is some 320 that I've had forever, and I'm using 180 to 320, and then I'm taking more steps than I normally would. I'm going to 320, then I'm going straight to 800, and then because I have the stuff, I'm going to 1,000, 1,500, and Debbie bought some 2,000 yesterday. When we're doing car paint, I'll go whatever. If it's really rough car paint, I'd go 800, but typically 1,000 grit, and then 1,500, and then 3,000. So I'll buff 3,000 on car paint, but it's a little more important than this. But I'm buffing 2,000 on here. We didn't have the 3,000. They didn't have it at the store, and I'm not gonna wait for it. So we're buffing 2,000, and it's coming out perfect. I mean, it's fine. The longer I work on it, the better it gets. So I've got to realize that this is my problem. I went from, my plan with this bed was to have rough sawn oak that I could screw a screw in, nail a nail in, put a motorcycle on, who cares? People could jump on it and ride. And all of a sudden we've got a piece of art. And I did not intend for that to happen. The reason it happened is because the boards were so bad we had to plane them. Well, once we planed them, it's like, well, I don't want to leave that. I got to sand them. Once I sanded them, it's like, I don't really want to just coat that in, tung oil or Thompson's water seal or something. Let's go, because it's red oak and it's porous, let's go ahead and coat it in resin. Well, the resin looked like crap, so that turns into sanding it. Now all of a sudden we got a truck bed that looked better than most paint jobs look, and now I'm going to be afraid to use it for a truck. But I'm going to show you the steps. So we're going to go from 180 to 300. We'll just bring you back for each grit, and then we'll show you the polishing process. It's very time consuming, and it's kind of a pain, but we've worked at it all yesterday, and part of last night. We got home late and went to bed, and come back this morning to finish 4 boards, and then I'm gonna put it together. So today's an exciting day. We're gonna put it on the truck. So come along as we make these steps, and I'll show you and maybe talk a little bit about each one of them. Little 320. And you really watch the residue. That's how you know if you're doing good, is how much paint you're moving. Your clear coat becomes milk. And it's kind of like playing a musical instrument. You need a melodic and methodic way of doing it. Don't just do some here and down here and around here. You will miss spots. So yeah, I've got these bolt holes. I'm doing sections. Each one of those is a section. So I'll work on this section. I'll move down here. And then when I overlap, I try to get it, because you don't want to have a straight line. You don't want to blend it out and blend it back. Okay, so that's, I'm going to go a little bit more on it, but that's 320, and then we'll come back here in a minute and do the next step. Okay, so that was a step with 320, the whole board. That's baby smooth right there. 320 is pretty smooth paper, but not smooth enough. The more time you spend with this, the less time you have to spend with that. And I don't like either one of them, so I'm gonna just kind of compromise. This next step's gonna be 800, so let's do it in 800 now. And each time you have less of that. So you think that you're not doing anything, but you're actually doing it. 800 still puts out takes off quite a bit of material, but it gets less and less as we go. Okay, so that was 800 grit. That's pretty darn smooth. I sit here and as I'm doing this, it's hard for you to see, but I can tell how thick that resin is just by like that wormhole there. It's just really hard to get that feel for it with a camera. But that resin looks an 1/8 inch thick. I know it's not that thick, but it's probably 30 or 40 thousandths thick still, even after sanding it with 180, which we took a lot of resin off to get it flat. But you wonder, you know, in car paint world, I'm always worried about getting too thin and buffing through, and I put 4 to 5 coats of clear on a car and then sand them and buff them and still burn through on occasion. That right there so thick, it's probably not, I'm not removing enough to make a difference. It's not gonna sand through. But so now we're moving on to 1000 grit. I'll do this in and then we'll come back with 1500. I won't spend nearly as much time on this because the sand scratches I'm removing are a lot finer. They're not as deep. It won't take as much time, but it also won't put out as much waste here. So normally you would worry about getting out here on the edge and tipping your sander and taking it off the edge and burning through. What you're seeing me do here is I'm actually putting pressure on it because I don't want to burn through with the buffer, and I don't want to have to buff the edge harder. You can hang the buffer and sling the board off of the stands here. So I'm actually putting a lot of pressure on the edge, and as I go, I'm doing it methodically. I'm doing this strip and leaning toward the edge a little bit, not a lot. Come around here and come back this way, and then I work back and forth in the center to try to overlap all that. It's just kind of like spraying paint. You want to overlap it. So that's what I'm going to do to the whole board now with this 1000 grit, and we'll come back with 1500. But there's kind of, you see that there's still a lot of material removal, but it's getting finer and finer and finer. So we're going to try a new wool pad after we get finished sanding and see if that eliminates those big scratches that I'm putting in with my old dirty pad. So that was 1,000 grit. This is 1,500. It makes me think back when I first started painting, everything was lacquer or enamel. And I always painted with lacquer. I liked the fact that I could sand it and buff it, but I remember doing paint jobs when I was young, and I'd sand with 600 grit. That was a fine grit paper back in the early 80s, late 70s, mid 80s, whatever. We would sand it with 600 grit and buff that with lacquer. I mean, polish with a wool pad and make it look like as deep as this wood. You just keep putting lacquer on. The thing about lacquer is the sunshine and age, that stuff just keeps drying and shrinking, and it eventually just shatters like a glass, like a safety glass. It'll just shatter and look like spider webs. Our old black 55 at home's been painted with lacquer since 1968, and it's just fallen off of it. But it looked so good when it was new. I went through from the stages of lacquer to all the different urethanes that they came out with in the early and mid and late 80s. It was just a horrible time to learn how to paint because they didn't know what they were doing making the stuff. But anyway, 600 grit was our fine sandpaper, and we thought, man, that's so fine, you can polish your teeth with that stuff. 600 grit by today's standards is coarse grit. So I see a lot of people using 5,000 grit when they're doing their final sand. I don't go that far. I go to 3,000. Man, you can take 3,000 and just rub your finger on it and polish it. So I think 5,000 is a little extreme myself, but of course it depends on the kind of paint job you're doing too. So this is 1,500, which is a very fine grit, but like I say, there's still 2 more steps to go. Or let's see, no, we're gonna go from this to 2,000. We're not going to 3,000. So let's do 1,500 now. So as you see, there's much less material being removed, but that's just because it's just so fine. It's like rubbing sand, like newspaper over it. At some point it becomes like rubbing a piece of paper over it. So that's what it looks like with 1,500. We'll come back with 2,000. There's really not a big step, obviously, 1,500 to 2,000, but I've got it, so we're going to do it, and it'll be even less of that in the floor. Let's get the 1,500 on it. Okay, so last step before polishing, 2,000. This is some stuff Debbie got yesterday. It's just a typical hook and loop back stuff. I actually was just telling her I like the 3,000 better. The 3,000's a foam. It's got a foam pad, and it's soft, but this is the only one I have left, and it's so old the backing come off of it. This stuff doesn't last. It'll dry out if you try to store it. Some of the sandpaper I've had for a long time, but this stuff, after a year, it dries out and the foam starts deteriorating and the backing pad starts coming off just like that. That's not the sticky part or the Velcro part, it's just coming apart. But for some reason, I think they call it Trizec or something like that. The foam stuff seems to really cut. When you're using it, it's putting out more of the debris. You see more of the white stuff coming off. But we're down to 2,000 with this hard back, and it doesn't seem to cut as much as, let me get a rag and wipe that off. I don't want debris on here or stuff off of my sander, but it doesn't seem to cut quite as much, so it won't put out as much white as the 1,500 did. Each one's a little bit less, but that's okay because you're not cutting as much. That's obvious, duh. So this is the last step before buffing. So there's about what I expect to see with the 2,000. Not very much, but boy, is it smooth. So now we're gonna finish this out with 2,000, and we'll come back with a new pad and the old style buffing compound, the old rough cut stuff, and see how it does. I think here on the 7th board, remember there's 9, 7th board, I think I've kind of got it finally figured out. Okay, so there's all the sanding, that's 2,000. Now I'm gonna use this very old style buffing pad and the old style cutting compound. I'm gonna do right here in the middle because Debbie's gotta hold it for me, and I can do the middle on this stand without too much effort.
Look at the shine coming in.
I'm sure that you can see the shine, but from my angle and the lighting, and you gotta move around, I see the scratches still. So like I say, as you go, you learn. Each thing that you're doing is different. I mean, nothing's ever the same. That's why it's craftsmanship. If it wasn't different, then it wouldn't be craftsmanship. Anybody could do it. You could just give them exact answers for everything, but everything has a personality of its own. The wood, the amount of time that is cured, the thickness of the resin you're using, the type of resin you're using, the type of sandpaper, the buffing process. So nothing's ever exact or the same. So you figure it out as you go, and it's taken me 7 boards probably to get it figured out, but we did the others pretty quick and they look really sweet. So there's the whole board with that new pad and the old style compound, and it came out fast. It helped a lot. It's still got the swirls in it exactly like the other pad, but it just buffed much quicker. So this foam pad gets those swirls out for the most part. So and it takes a little bit of effort. You gotta build a little bit of heat. Do this section here and then show you between this blowhole that way and the blowhole this way. It's kind of like high definition TV. It just brings out oh man, that's amazing. All right, let's look at it from this direction. So some of my favorite stuff is these, I guess, wormholes. That's so deep in there. It looks like a river, like one of those water holes in a creek that has no bottom. So if you see right in here, and it's real hard to get the camera to focus on that. I'm gonna back up. There just isn't any swirl marks to speak of, and I still got one more step. But you move here, see the difference? Look how that light. So that's the foam pad in the old school way. That's about as fine as you could get it. Then you'd start buffing with final glazes and stuff. You can just see that light up in there though, then you come back here, boom, it just sharpens up. Look how sharp that's a reflection of an overhead light. So right there, it's just really defined. Move down here, look at that. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna do the whole board in the foam pad while that holds it. Let me focus.
I got all my stuff on me.
For some reason, it won't even focus on your mug. There we go. All right, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do the final buff with a finer glaze compound, which doesn't take much, and we'll be done. Okay, so look down that board. It's got a little wave to it. It's not car paint perfect, and I didn't try to make it that way, but look right there how shiny. You see the light. I'm looking at the 8-foot strip LEDs. I don't know if you can see it or not, but you see all the individual little LEDs. It's like reflective like a mirror. So that's the next to the last step. Now this is, if I can find my compound. I've actually got one that's even finer than this, but I'm not going to use it because it's not a chip boost Riddler winner. It's a truck bed. It's going to have motorcycles, toolboxes, people's feet. No, probably not. That's what it was going to have. Now I probably will never be able to do that. My point is, it's good enough. Just going to hit it with this. And I could change pads. I've got a black foam pad, which is a smoother pad, but it's good enough. Okay, so that's it, people. Man, that's shiny. That's as shiny as good old lacquer paint was. Makes me wonder if we could spray this stuff on a car. It's so thick. When I was a kid, growing up in Southern California, Schwinn's were my life. Schwinn's and motorcycles before I could be a car guy. And I remember getting a Schwinn frame that some, how do you say, Hispanic, now is a proper way to say it, kid gave me that he had custom painted, probably by Al Martinez, which was a famous painter in Southern California, mostly lowrider stuff. But this frame broke, and the S-tube that comes off of the neck, and the way Schwinn was put together, it was brazed right there, and it broke, and this frame had the most outstanding paint job. It was like lowrider quality. It was as thick as, the clear was as thick as that, and back in those days it would have been lacquer. They had all the candy apples and metal flakes, and everything underneath this thing is blue. It was beautiful. And somebody had taken where it cracked, they welded it back together, and they took a bolt, a piece of all thread, and welded underneath it as a reinforcement. It was horrible looking, but the rest of the frame was so perfect. But it's just stuck in my head for 45 years, whatever, maybe, yeah, probably 45 years. And this is close to that. But those lowriders back in those days, they would paint, and lacquer doesn't go on thick like that. Lacquer's thin. And they'd paint 20, 30 coats of clear on top of all of their artwork and their metal flakes and their striping. And it looked so good. But that right there makes me want to put some heavy metal flake on a car and spray it with boat resin. I know that it wouldn't work, but it kind of makes me wonder. Might have to try that. Maybe that's what we should do. Maybe the Volkswagen should get boat resin. Yeah, it could be. I wanted a non-metallic, non-pearl, non-graphic green, kind of like a avocado green, but maybe even a little bit lighter. Maybe it needs about 1/8 of an inch of boat resin. You know what the problem with that is? If you had to take it off, it would probably suck. And I'm gonna own that car for the rest of my life. So probably just go with clear. So this is the big moment. All these boards are finished. We're gonna do a final wipe down just to make sure the back's clean. And it just occurred to me, instead of just stacking them back on trash cans, let's just go ahead and install them. So I just put this one here. We wiped it down. Let's see if it snaps back in with the resin on it. My shirt's a little bit dirty. I might pollute the paint. Let me grab a rubber hammer. I expect to have to do that. Okay, so I got my whacker.
It's okay now.
Okay, there's the other side piece. Okay, there's board number 2. Slide that over. not. Okay. And now the last one.
I think they fit better now that they've been
It must be
coated.
slipperier. Okay, so now I've got to go down there and pry that board back. I gotta get a pry bar. Can you push down on that so it'll push underneath? My sawhorse is too close. I'm gonna raise it up and scoot that back. Okay, so they're all installed, and they have a little gap at the front and back. So what I have to do now is I'm gonna sand and polish all the hardware, all the tapered seat bolts. Hopefully they fit without having to be, open the seat up because of the resin. But I'm gonna do that next, and then put the hardware in the front and the back. See, there's nothing to hold them. You can push them down. But my hardware that I've got that goes in here holds them up, pries them up. So it's just a matter of bolting it together now. What can I say? That's amazing. I want to just sit here and stare at it. It's so hard to convey in pictures, because I've tried, how pretty this thing is. It's way too nice for a truck bed. Somebody said you could eat Thanksgiving dinner off it. I made a Facebook post. I got thinking, boy, that would be an awesome table. Alex needs a conference table in her new shop. It may end up being made like this with this resin. But that's it. The bolts are all polished. I went over and polished however many bolts, I forget what it is.
27.
27 bolts. And I sanded them down to 500 grit and then buffed them on the buffer. They're stainless steel. Got everything bolted together, got the supports in the end so they're all up to level. It's done, except the part that I don't want to do. I hate this part. It'll be fine when it's done, but I've got to use a hole saw and cut 2 3 3/4 inch holes, I think in these boards right here. And it worked out to where I haven't got underneath and drilled a pilot hole yet. I'm going to drill up. I'm measuring from the front mounting bolts that are already in the chassis. I'm measuring in and back to get my location for these gas filler caps. I was going to make doors and put up here that you'd open up and reach down inside and take a gas cap off. Debbie found these flush mount from Boyd Welding, these flush mount billet aluminum caps. You use a little special wrench, which I'll keep in the truck. You stick it in a couple holes and unscrew the cap. And it's a nice big piece. It's like a funnel. So I really like the idea after I got to thinking about it. I wish that they could have came out right in the middle of, a board. Unfortunately, it comes out right in the middle of 2 boards. So I'm gonna go underneath, measure, drill up a pilot hole from the bottom up, and then use a hole saw and cut this beautiful wood. I've just got to remember that it's a truck bed. At the end of the day, it's still a truck bed. Right now, I'm looking at every little scratch, and my hands are so rough, they're like sandpaper. I was underneath and I was reaching up to the top to feel the boards to make sure that I had them pushed up like they were supposed to be. And everywhere my hands went, it scratched the wood. I think it's still not locked up completely. I kind of determined that from polishing process. But it's boat resin. It's made to be kind of beat up. People stepping on it, and the life of a boat, probably running up on sand at some point. I don't think people that would have a boat with this would run it up on sand. But anyway, it's got to be tough stuff. So that's the last step. I'm going to cut those holes tonight. The gas caps won't be here until Tuesday, but I want to put the bed on tomorrow. So I'll have the filler adapters ready to go. And when I put the caps down in, they'll be on a 2-inch rubber hose, like a radiator hose. I'll push them down in and I can get up underneath the truck over the top of the main rail that runs front to back and tighten the hose clamp up. So they'll screw into the wood with, I don't know, 4 or 6 or 8 wood screws. And unfortunately, like I say, right in the middle of 2 boards, but that's just the way it is. I had to space these boards where they are, and they're all the same thickness as you come in, or width as you come in. They're all different, but this one's the same as this same as this, and the one in the center is its own. So there wasn't really much I could do about that, and it's just gonna have to, my gas cap's gonna hold 2 boards together. So getting ready to go under and measure and do the dirty part, the scary part, drilling a pilot hole up through that wood. Really don't want to, but I got to do it.
Not no mic, like no microphone. You're supposed to.
Not this again.
I've kind of given up on the microphones. They're more of a pain than they are worth the money. So are you recording? Mm-hmm. Welcome back. So we're getting ready to put this piece of art on that piece of junk. So that ugly old rusted, bent, dirty, nasty cab is getting this. I can't tell you why. Can anybody tell you why?
Well, no, because I remember very recently you're like, yeah, I'm going to haul stuff. I'm going to drill some hooks into the bedwood.
That's what I heard.
That's what I heard.
I had all plans of that. You know where that went south? Is when we pulled this lumber out, it was like a rocking chair rail, this direction. I wanted to just put it in there rough sawn, but that couldn't happen. It wouldn't even fit under here. It was so warped.
So you took it from here to here, and then you're like, if we're here, we might as well go here.
As soon as I put it through that planer and it smoothed it out, it's like, okay, now we're in trouble.
We're gonna make furniture.
He's not making like if a pallet ever goes out of here now, it's gonna be a finished wooden pallet.
We have to put felt on the bottom of it.
I kind of like doing this woodwork. I may trade all this metal and stuff for wood.
It's a big money maker.
Way more malleable.
He even polished the.
Yeah.
The bolt.
Take a close up. He polished those.
All those
getting
wormholes.
fingerprints all over them.
I dig these wormholes all being filled level. It's just my favorite part of it. So it turns out, because I looked, or Debbie's looking today about buying some more ugly old rotted wood like this. Stuff's expensive.
Really?
You can buy,
Because it's got character.
you can buy lumber cheaper than you can buy this rotted wood. So
I think we need to make a bowling alley right through here. In your shop,
I was gonna say that.
across the road. Saturday night bowling.
Skate nights and bowling.
Well, yeah, you could skate on it and bowl.
Yeah,
on it.
that's right.
You could bowl the skaters, see
Yeah.
which one you knock down.
well, people are saying you need to put that in the house and have Thanksgiving dinner on it before you put it on the truck.
I actually was thinking about that while I was looking.
Somebody
at
would
this.
drop a plate or a fork.
Can you imagine it?
How heavy is this? You
We're gonna
think?
I
find
don't know.
out
We're
real
about
soon.
to find out. I put it together in pieces, so I don't know.
It's just old oak.
And a lot.
But look how thick that oak still is.
And
I wish we had access to a bunch of that.
Pretty heavy.
I know a few of those boards are very heavy
you sure
by
you
themselves.
I don't know. We might need.
Some of these, like that 12-inch board, that's a heavy freaking board. I thought about weighing it, but I don't want to take the
I
time.
would like to know what this
I don't
is.
want to know, because I don't want to take the time.
He needs all the horsepower he's got just to move the bed.
I think we need.
He's struggling.
It's the perfect height for me to just hold it and not have to hold it.
Okay,
I am
you want to go
not
that
doing
way?
something. I have a job once we get there. FYI, there's a hose right there
Where?
Stop, Nick.
under Dad's foot. There's a hose. Wow.
It's a little bit heavy.
It looks
And
heavy.
it's getting heavier.
It is heavier the
Why don't
longer
we
we
back
hold
this-
it.
Okay, now we got to go
Yeah, put
around the
the truck
tires.
roll back there.
Make sure you're high enough.
You're high enough.
Okay, now get down underneath there and eyeball that bolt. I know we got to come forward 2
Keep coming,
foot.
come.
How are we side to side?
You're good.
It looks
Just
pretty
keep going
good.
straight. Okay, drop about right there. Right there. You guys go.
All right, Mike, grab this corner.
That looks good.
Did it go?
Well,
What?
I'm gonna let you cross thread it.
You're gonna let him cross
I
thread
thought
it?
she worked at Hot Rod Garage and could put a bolt in.
I'm scared to hurt this. Very different.
I think it's just tight. If you can get that one started, I'll tighten them down.
This one needs to be
Yeah, this
with
one-
a wrench.
Yeah.
It what?
These 2 backs need to hit them.
Yeah.
That one for sure. Was the wrench. That's the one.
He's a little guy. Very small.
And his wheels are right at his back end.
It looks good though.
It takes some getting used to seeing that on there.
I'm not used to a bed on it. That's
No.
where I'm struggling. But it looks good. The bed looks good on it. It's just I've seen it with no bed for so long.
Right. We need to pull it outside so we can really get it.
I will. Here.
It's cool because you can see all the like forelink and everything on it.
That's why I didn't want to put toolboxes down there, but that's not out of the question for later to build a nice box. That
Yeah, but
flows
for
in
now
the-
to see it when he slams, he looks good.
Watch this. Hey Dennis, you gonna put some back off mud flaps?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, he
Or the silhouette?
You
I think
see
it might
the
need to come.
see that mouth movement? That's him thinking of something very.
Oh, I had something to say.
I know, I can tell.
Can't say it's on.
When he does like this, that means well you're
No, I'm
about to.
chewing the loose skin on the inside.
That's not what you're doing. That means he's holding back his smile.
There used to be another shirt from that period of time, something about grass, but I can't put that on there. Have
All right.
tail lights, and he's got to have something there, probably a license plate, right there, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm interviewing you now. Don't move. Stay here.
I gotta get this. It's bugging me.
Well, just
Somebody accused me of having OCD.
you do
No, I
bad.
don't.
OCD or
There's fingerprints on here. It's horrible.
he's slightly undiagnosed with something.
So
We're not allowed to say on camera.
He needs medication. Is that what you're saying?
I
I'm
mean,
getting it right here. I just need to get the fingerprints off of it, and somebody needs to get underneath and wipe all the dust off of every component under this truck.
Who are you looking at?
Alice.
I'm sure it'll be me. That's why Alex said, and other people, drive it and all this. It's like, drive it? Are you serious? I'd have to clean it then.
no.
True.
I don't want to clean it.
He's got a bunch of trucks that aren't drivable now.
I have a bunch of stuff that's not drivable.
Yeah.
I have nothing that's drivable.
How come the Nova's not drivable? I forget.
The motor
My
is her
bell.
55.
He just tried to start a
Blew
war.
it up. She blew my transmission up.
They
That's
gave
not
it
true.
back to him.
That's not true.
It is true.
With offer to repair.
Offered.
It was offered, but it was never repaired.
Yeah, he's really dramatic here.
Cut.
What am I not truthful about?
We're all.
I got a block. We just gotta fix it.
My block is still broke and my transmission's broke. So
Whatever.
my Nova's broke, the 55's broke, the Willys is
That
broke.
is not the point here. The point is that you have two trucks that are drivable that you're choosing to not
What
drive.
truck?
A brand new
Your brand new dually.
I just don't want to wear that out.
You don't
And
want to
I
get it
like
dirty.
getting dirty.
That's the point. That's what,
It's black. You
Wow.
can't get black dirty. If you're gonna drive them, you gotta get white, like Nick. And
And-
it gets dirty and you don't care.
Dirty white boy.
All right, back to the thing.
Yeah,
at
get
hand.
back
I
to
got
the
the fingerprints off.
Okay, so my question is, what is your initial thoughts?
I'm not sure. I'm not over the moon with it.
What do you not like initially?
I don't know that I like any bed on it. So I don't like a pickup bed on them with all of my fiber. I hate pickup beds
That's
on
fair.
them.
I agree.
So what's left?
Flat bed.
One of those
Rollback,
what do they call them?
wedge, rollback deals.
No, they call them ramp truck.
Ramp trucks.
I do not want a ramp truck. So there's nothing left after that, right?
Obviously, that's wrong.
A flatbed is all that's left. So as far as a flatbed goes, I'm okay with it. And once we get used to it,
Look,
I'll probably be okay.
look at it
with
right here. That looks
What's it
good.
look like?
It looks good in the camera.
Yeah, that's pretty cute.
But the nice part about it, it sounded like Keith's turd. That's pretty cute.
We need to take it outside and get a good view.
So the nice part I think about the flatbed is the fact that you can see all your giant four-link
See, and I was just
suspension
looking
there.
at that thinking, maybe I really do need to mount some beer kegs right there. For
Well,
gas.
I think that could be cool eventually, so that way you can like take up some of that space. But I do like that you can, for now, like to go to PRI and stuff, you can see the four-link and everything.
So what if I do a toolbox? You get your greasy handprints on there. What if I do a toolbox that's curved like this, and it comes, it goes this shape in,
Yeah.
and it's got some kind of a you know, it follows a truck.
Yeah, something like that would be cool. But there is a lot of space there. You can see that you could put some actual storage and it would look good.
I think I'll probably end up doing that.
Okay, that's
But
a
I'll
good
be
idea.
okay with that. I don't really like it when it's aired up because
I can say it looks way better down.
yeah, and we can't drive it like that. We could drive it like that, but no, you're not gonna drive it down the road like that.
This is like, Megan and I were here yesterday looking at it. It's much more like a sports car. It feels more like a sports car. And when you look at the bed on it, it's actually a little bitty thing.
You wanna drive it outside?
Ooh, yeah.
So
No,
it's
I'm a little nervous. Not gonna lie.
It's kind of weird.
Okay.
But let's move it outside so we can see it. We'll have to, you've got to air it up a little bit because we're in, what do you call this? Where you go? What's your
Hard
generation?
park.
Huh?
Your hard park.
That's not what he's asking.
It's hard parked. No, so this is styling and profiling. This is dropped on the ground in the parking lot.
You got
So
switches?
he calls it hard parked.
You got switches?
I got switches to take.
I
care
got
of
them. That's what you're supposed to say. You got switches?
I got them.
There you go.
What's that?
Or hang on. What you know about switches?
What do I know about switches?
What you know about switches?
What you know about switches?
What do you know about switches?
Oh, I know that there's a lot of wiring
No,
involved.
you say I got them.
I got them.
There you go. I had to remember my own joke. Okay.
I didn't know it was a joke.
Well, it's an HRG joke, but
Oh, I wasn't there that day.
Ha ha.
So somebody needs to open the front door. Yeah, kind of filthy. That buffing compound that's all over the shop because of that bed. Oh, that looks pretty good in the picture. The buffing compound would be really ugly.
I didn't pull mine. I lightly shut.
I think, didn't I disconnect the steering?
Yeah, it's not connected.
Here, can you manage this while I did it
Yeah.
because I knew that I would be raising the cab and I didn't want to forget it.
You need a signal to tell you when it's connected and not.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, but I was just being safe because I didn't want to forget. I'm so used to it not being connected that I know that what I'm going to do is grab it, the switch, and raise the cab and bust my whole steering. The story of my life.
Cute.
What?
Alex making the ugliest face I've ever seen. Just for the camera.
That's all that's required to tilt the cab, so that's not a big deal. Okay, what do you know about switches? Okay, bump it up.
Bump it up.
The two on the left are front, the two on the back are right or back.
We have to insert the song bump it up. Bump it up. Google it.
Aussie song?
Yeah. That sounds so good too.
It wants to run after you turn it off.
That looks awesome.
I thought you were gonna peel out in there for just a second.
I thought you were gonna make us push her out.
I was checking the brakes. I'm scared.
I thought you were
I'm scared.
If I heard this,
You know what? It really needs that front bumper.
I agree.
Stop slamming that door.
Ooh.
There's no weather strips in. Mike slammed it a little while ago like it was a Dodge
Dang it,
truck.
Mike Bell.
Look at the chips in the paint now.
Did Mike do it?
Yeah. There's no weather strips.
Will somebody get my shoes?
Will the weather stripping cover that chip?
No.
You didn't do it. I was there yesterday.
It was?
I saw it yesterday.
He did the other door over there.
He did something.
You didn't do it.
You did something, Mike Bell.
He did something.
It had to be my fault. Somewhere.
Well, that's why you're here.
I
We need a
I'm on
scapegoat.
Well,
bail.
I thought it looked funny.
There's
at
a
first.
lot of dust
Yeah,
down
there
there.
Yeah.
is. I thought, is that got, maybe I milked the clear or something.
I thought you were wiping it off.
You got some good brakes. They are.
They are too good. That's one of my things I got to fix before I go is the
Dang!
brakes are
For an old patina.
way too easy.
For an old patina truck, I know what you should do. You probably won't want to, but you should do it. You should you should park it in the back like it was when it was all rusted and rotten.
I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to put it up for sale.
How do you do rusted and rotten
You guys
again?
want a COE?
It's not for sale.
Say the roasted and rotten.
Rusted
Dude,
and
no,
rotten.
do your whole motion again.
Looks
I don't
pretty
know.
good. It just
It's
needs
not
that
for
bumper.
sale.
I'm getting ready to send pictures to people right now.
Yeah. So it's a funny looking little thing. It's kind of,
He's
I'm not
silly.
going to say what I was going to say. About a certain state
He
that
looks,
has a certain look, I was going to call it by the certain state.
Its
got
initials are.
It's kind of, the wheels are kind of far apart.
Oh man, look at that.
I know what you're saying. But the only thing is, it looks like a little Hot Wheels. Like it's a funny little guy because he's short. He should be a Hot Wheels.
It's one of those things that I honestly had all these plans in my head. You know, I wanted it a certain way, and that's it. Now that it's there, is that right side up or upside down?
Right side up.
I'm not sure that I had it right side up.
Oh, really? It's the same way
It's
it was.
not for sale. You need something you can drive for the YouTubes. Don't you guys want to see him drive this? That's
looks
the
better.
question.
Yeah.
Of course, it's got to be raised up a little bit. That helps a ton right
Yeah.
there.
Dang, girl.
Yeah, that
Shiny
made a,
teeth. Got the grill on the grill.
that made a big difference. We could get a new grill and have it all chromed.
No.
No, I like it like that.
No, I'm kidding. I don't want it chromed.
That looks good.
ugly
He's
on
a
purpose.
funny little sucker. He's so short.
He's a funny little trucker.
Yeah. He's not short, but he sure is skinny.
He's a little
He's
bitty-
like us. He got a little bitty butt.
It's because yours in camo shorts. You can't see it.
I'm okay with the bed now. It's getting better, but I really like the way it fits the cab. It's not too wide.
I think it should say Tonka truck. It's a little Tonka.
I don't like it when they come out here and then the bed corner's way out here.
No, I think it looks good.
Seeing the sky and the trees reflect on that, it shows you how deep the clear is. It
It
looks
is.
so good.
There's a lot of dualies up in this club.
Mike Bell's over there getting high.
Look at this. It looks like Redneck City here. Look at, especially Mike's. Look at the mud
I
on it.
just got off work, but I'm really no. I got off work.
Look.
I'm really off work.
Truck,
Let's see.
truck.
Trucks.
Truck.
One
Dude.
Ford
What,
out of
there's
the whole bunch.
another dually over there.
Ned's car.
Man, we are truck
1,
Ford,
2,
you know?
3,
Yeah.
4. There's 5 dualies in my sight.
I'm not sure that, and they all belong to us somehow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I ever intended to be a truck guy.
I'm not a truck person.
Well, truck.
Truck it, I am now.
Yeah. Sure, the truck are now.
No, I don't want to drive a car. I hate driving cars. I
Yeah.
do not like cars. I don't care what it is. I don't even like driving 55 Chevys.
You know what? I say I'm not a truck person because I'm not. I'm also not an import person. But I want a Porsche and I like my Bug.
Oh, I love it. Those are not imports.
But by technicality,
Volkswagens aren't classified as imports.
I know they're categorized in the hot rod world.
They're American to me. Everybody in America had a Volkswagen in the day. Did your family ever have one?
Yes, my aunt had Porsche.
I thought he was going to prove me wrong. What? What are you seeing?
The boxes.
What was that? That was a thumbs up, then a thumbs down.
Yeah,
Which
it
were
was
you going for?
Well, will it shorten it up, make it shorten up or what?
No, I'm not going to shorten the truck to put boxes on.
No,
Make
he
it
said,
look
would
like
make
it would.
it
Make it look
shorter.
like if you fill it with a.
Would you want it shorter?
No.
Then no, they don't.
He only answered that the way you wanted
I
to
gotcha.
hear it.
Do you want it to look longer?
No, just the way it is right now. But wouldn't it make it look like it's shorter with the boxes? Plus, that looks killer. All this
Okay,
looks killer.
this is the deal. Nick, stand back here, please.
Okay.
Aim at the side of that truck, and you guys in YouTube land tell me, do I need to build? And if I do, I think, and I got beer kegs. I really like the idea of old school beer kegs right here, like a gas tank, and that's what they were going to be, my gas tanks. But if you ever got hit in the side, be a Pinto.
Yeah.
So I did that in frame thing, but I could have them there as a fake or make them open up and put. The problem with them is once I got them,
They don't
they're
match.
very small.
They don't match either.
I don't think they match now.
Yeah, my two don't match and they're
That's-
beat up.
I
and
also don't think it
gouged.
matches the truck. That ship sailed.
I think
Yeah, I think it sailed.
Okay.
I love the look of the 4-link bars, but I think if you put something, maybe just like a curved trim piece, like a piece to cover the transmission where you could still see the bars, I think it'd look good. It would make the cab flow into the bed.
Okay, like maybe a
Wait,
round.
where's the curved piece going?
Like
You're covering the front brackets and everything?
like curved just right here, like a whole piece that almost.
Oh, I actually disagree with that.
Well, that's fine. I'm just saying
What I
this.
would-
That's just what I
No,
see.
what I thought you were saying is like you come back here and do like a faux like deal, so like it wraps into the cross member, so then you
Oh,
have the transmission.
no, I was saying cover up the front brackets, then you just see bars.
Well, you see bars with her idea because the thing would be on the inside.
Yeah.
I don't mind seeing the transmission,
Yeah, but if you're doing something.
so it's got that big space between the back tires and the back of the cab, and if you put if we put a toolbox in there, it's going to look like a big toolbox in a little truck, isn't it?
Yeah, because it will be.
What if I make a barbecue?
I just like it. Well, you can put a barbecue on your receiver.
What if you pull the barbecue out, it opens up, and you put all your ketchup and...
What do you know about them switches? He's got them.
I kind of like the barbecue idea.
Man,
Oh,
you
it could be the ultimate lake vehicle. Then you go to the other side, you put your chairs out, and you just have a barbecue around the truck.
There's possibilities. They're endless.
You get your bed dirty.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Not ketchup on the bed.
You put a picnic cloth on it.
Yeah.
Oh, then you'll
The
scratch it.
picnic cloth will scratch it.
It's got felt on the other side.
You know what? I think the answer is just to sell it and let somebody else
No,
worry
it's
about
not
it.
for sale. If you're gonna be
I'm almost over it. Let's look at the interior.
I'm almost over it.
Don't slam that
I've
door.
never seen the interior out in the daylight. Oh, that looks pretty good. Except I got a hair lip right here. I gotta glue that in. Is that a bad word?
No, it's not.
That's a hair lip is a thing.
I think it is.
It smells like a brand new. It smells better than a brand new truck.
I'm painting all the seat hardware and the door panels right now. I've got these made, and all the handles are in primer right now. And your piece up there on the dash that covers that hole is painted or primer.
I was wondering if you were gonna bond
Did
to
you
it.
bond to it?
I didn't have to. I sanded it and primered it, and then sanded that. But I've got to put the rubber running boards on, which that's just a matter of time.
Look at that
So you're
face.
telling me you're not gonna be awake the night before PRI?
Look
I
at
think
this,
It's going to be done before PRI.
Alex. Look at my camera. Oh no!
Well, how can I
I had you in the mirror. I thought you could see it. It's funny.
Oh, couldn't figure out what she was looking at.
Apparently, I was looking at myself. Didn't
Yeah,
even know it.
you'll see it. You'll see it when you edit. We should do so many inserts of funny clips in your video. It'll be hilarious.
What I want to do is let everybody tell me whether they think it needs a toolbox or a barbecue.
And
or
while you're commenting on what it should have, also tell them don't sell it. You
A
want to see him
kegerator.
drive it.
You know what they call those things?
Yes.
Kegerator.
Maybe you could have a kegerator on
tap?
one side with Diet Dr. Pepper, because I don't drink beer.
Well,
Diet
maybe
Coke.
It can be on tap.
You hear that?
I heard it. It's gonna hurt if you smack one of us with it.
I'll drop
Diet
the phone.
Coke, yeah. Then Keith Turk can come join the party. That does look pretty good.
It does.
It looks. I think it looks a lot better than pretty good.
Hey, Meg told me I had to get a reel for the ISKY channel.
Kind of impressed with that. If it was clean and dust free underneath, I'd be okay with that. I don't know. I'm getting a little more used to it. It's just a big, oh, right.
Back off mud flaps.
They might look good.
Huh?
They actually kind of do look good. Back off might be kind of cool.
Fear this. You got to get the fear this mud flaps.
Or that naked woman silhouette of the
Yeah, the trucker woman laid down. Yeah, that might be the thing to do. Okay, there's question number 2. Take a picture back here. I got 3 questions for him.
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
it deserve mud flap? Show that mud flap, Mike.
homemade mud flap. But then, I mean,
That actually kind of does look good.
yeah,
Okay, next question. Where's the license plate go?
that's.
Where's your bug plates? They're black. They're kind of hard to see.
They're cool, so I'll do
So, in typical cow bug style, like I grew up doing, the license plate would be off to one side. But this is kind of stacked. It looks a little too stacked. Yeah, that's a. Oh, I kind of like that.
You could just put you could
looks good.
change the U to an I so big.
So big. Hold it straight. Jeez.
He is not OCD.
Not at all.
No.
Okay,
Oh,
go
that's a
down
picture
lower.
right there.
Does it need to be down?
Yeah,
Like, what's
right
your-
there.
Down,
Yes.
down, 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 down.
Like split.
No, it needs to be in the
Right
middle
there.
of that split.
I don't like that.
Actually, go down. It looks way different in person than on camera, though. I was looking at the camera, I thought it looked good one place, and I looked at it in person and it didn't.
Okay, go up. I think that's dumb because you tear it off if you're loading like
There, I think right in the middle
That's what
actually
I
looks
said.
best in
And you said
person.
no.
Oh, well, I lied.
Okay, hold it to the side. Is there like maybe
No, hang on. Here's my problem with to the side. We passed the truck in a town we drove through today. I said, I do not like that truck at all. And you know where they had their license plate? Like this. It wasn't it.
that doesn't look too bad.
I don't think that looks bad. You should just put the license plate on the mud flaps.
So it can flop back and forth.
Yeah.
Raise it up to the bed and see is there any chance. No, that's dumb.
Uh-uh.
It'd have to be down.
Either way.
Is dumb a bad word?
No.
No.
I'll have to ask
Can you
my
still
wife.
If it is, then that's dumb.
There's a lot of words you can't say. I kind of like that, but it doesn't really fit. So
'Cause,
it has to be in the middle.
So,
In the middle, kind of in the middle of the middle.
yeah.
Okay.
I
so,
like it.
So
Wait, what's their opinion?
Yeah.
Okay, give them the options.
Okay, so this is option 1.
No, option 1 would be the top.
Oh, well, that's not even an option.
Well, not sticking over the top of the bed. Come down like an inch, right there.
No. Okay, so this is number 1, everybody.
Not crooked though.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Right there.
Option 2.
Number 2.
I kind of like option 3.
3.
I like option 3 too.
And then
yeah, 2 or 3.
4.
4. It's not really an option,
No.
but tell us what you think.
I kind of
No.
like option 4.
Debbie said no.
I kind of
I
like
say
option
2.
3, the down on top of the hitch one.
Yeah.
I say 2 or 3.
Can we do 2.5?
No. Let us know. Let him know.
In the comments.
Okay, so that's your first question. Your second question is, what do you think with the side of the bed?
I think the side of the bed was the first question.
No, not now. And then the third question is
Mud flaps.
Just tell him not to mud flaps, and then fourth is just tell him not to sell it.
Tell them what?
Not to. You can't sell it.
Oh,
Also, these are real, and they're cool
show them why it says so bug.
because my 55's plate. Well, actually, it's Dad's plate. That's on 55.
So the engine.
Lots of blue up in here. Why so blue?
Oh, my engine's trapped. This place is such a garbage can.
So boss, so bug.
See, that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
So
These
bitchin'.
are for my bug over in my shop. Funny enough, I accidentally said it on social media that I was gonna get these, and then somebody took them from me, and they became unavailable. But then I tried another month and a half later, and they were back. But they're mine now.
So what did they do?
Somebody like put a reserve in on it and took them. I didn't even say I was getting the plates. I just called my bug so bug, and somebody took the plates.
Wow.
And then
It's pretty cool. I love black California plates. Now, I don't agree with a lot about California, but it's still my heart. But from the 70s and 60s, not from the 2000s. but black California plate, I grew up with that, and that means I would love to have black California plate.
Interestingly enough, if I had a true old school plate, FYI, I couldn't have a black plate if it was old. It would be yellow like that one, because I think they changed it in 63.
Yeah, 56.
56.
So they had the longer ones before.
Yeah.
So that's a 56 plate.
That ran to
Those are the
62.
plates off of my Nova.
56 that ran to 62. Yeah.
Okay. So those blue plates are off of my car. Those were on there when I first got it. And those crusty ones with the E on the end, that's off my dad's truck. That's genuine old California plates. I didn't have black plates. That was before my time. So those were 70. I think they changed them in 72. So 71 was black plate and 72 was blue plate, I think. I like blue plates too,
Yeah.
but not as much as black plate.
You have a lot of editing now.
I do.
We just did this for 25 minutes.
Okay. Well,
You're gonna have a really good video.
I think so. I mean, oh man, this is bugging me. Look down that bed. Look at the dust that's in the cracks.
Yep, you're gonna have a problem there, bud.
That's a problem. I gotta really get that right. How can you look at it and appreciate the beauty if you see a pimple on the end of the nose? See, that would be like a pimple.
Real true beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and it comes from the inside.
Fire.
Man, was that a lot of work. So what I thought was going to be just putting some boards in this framework and rough and worrying about splinters turned out to be friggin' kitchen table. People are saying that it's kitchen table. So it wasn't supposed to be this nice, but it was. It is. It is what it is, as they say. So now I'm trying to decide if I'm going to Scotch-Brite it to keep it from getting scratched or showing scratches, or if I'm going to leave it and let the scratches just happen. But Debbie and I aren't woodworkers, but I think we did a pretty darn good job. So thanks for joining. If you're at PRI, come by booth 3913. That's ISKY's booth, and this is going to be sitting right on the aisle. I'd love for you to see it in real life. Don't forget, the shirts are up for sale on Alex's website. We'll put a link in the bio, and they're selling fast. I'm happy to report. Some of them are almost sold out. So get yours now. We've got white and black. So once again, thanks for joining. There'll be one more video, I think, is all we've got left, and that's going to be the walk around to show you the finished product. And I can't wait to call it, boom, big red done stamp. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.